had an opportunity to try out the Henessey Deep Jungle XL hammock. And I haven't opened it, haven't looked at it and done anything. So we're gonna take a look at it, see what's inside, set it up, give it a try while we're out here at camp. So you can see it comes in a nice little stuff sack, tells you exactly what you have in it. Now everything should be in here, but let's take a look and see what we got. All right, so it looks like we've got a couple straps. Let's see. This could be the tarp or the hammock. This looks like it's the tarp, but oh my gosh, is that lightweight. That is awesome. Got a couple snake skins. Love snake skins. All right, so this is the main body of the hammock. Very soft material. Got your little straps here. Undo those. And you can see the main body of the hammock, straps on either end. Let's get a close-up of these strap ends. So you can see that the gathered end is covered up by a piece of nylon material, and then the suspension straps come out of that. And it looks like it's got a little hook here. I'm guessing that's for the tarp, but I haven't set it up yet. We'll set it up here in a bit. Oh yeah, it's got the prusik knot on there, so that's got to be for the tarp, so you can tighten and loosen the tarp. I don't know if you know how a prusik knot works, but it tightens as you pull on it and put tension on it. But when it's loose, you can slide it back and forth to tighten your tarp. And we'll get into more details later, but you can see it has a bug screen built into the hammock. Man, I cannot tell you how soft this material is. That's gonna be great to sleep on. And this is a double layer hammock, so it has a sleeve for you to put your sleeping pad in. But again, we'll get into all those details later. Let's just look inside the bag here. Oh, cool. So it has this is a little ridgeline hanging bag. You put that on your ridgeline inside the hammock and gives you a place to store gear. Because the Henessey doesn't have a shelf like my war bonnet does, you know, this gives you some place to store stuff while you're inside the hammock. So let's go put it up and see how it performs. I set up the one end of the hammock just real quick with a quick half hitch, just so that I could get it up off the ground. Now I'll put this end in and actually install this one, go back to that other end, take out the half hitch, and tighten it up on that end, but that way you can adjust the hammock to where it needs to be set. That's how they set up these Hennesseys. This is their suspension system, it's proprietary to them. I might do things a little bit differently. I might come back and put in a D-ring so that I can just wrap this around whatever size tree I need. Right now what you have is these straps. You know, this is the 36-inch long strap. You can get longer straps for different size trees, but then I've got to carry the straps around with me. So I might switch this over. We'll have to see how it works out. But for right now, we're gonna set the Henessey up the way it's intended to be set up. So the first thing you do is get this around the tree. And you can see this one, you can't, this tree's too wide to get it to go around twice. So you just go once. Then you take this cord that's attached to the end of your hammock. You go down through the top of one loop and then up through the bottom of the other one. You can see how this could get to be a little challenging. Anytime I set up my hammocks, I start with the strap at about head height. So that's what I'm doing here. Just pull that through there till you get your hammock nice and tight. And then you're gonna wrap this around like this, back up through the center, and then around one time, back through the center, and then around. You got to make sure they're tight. And you do this about 3 or 4 times. So that's 3. Now that I've gotten to my 4th time, I'm just gonna do a half hitch, a slippery half hitch. And then just to be safe, I'm gonna take that and do one more slippery half hitch to just hold it in place. So that's basically how the suspension system works. I'm gonna move this up a little bit since I've got the slack. I've got slack right now because that other end is just a single half hitch holding it in place. So we'll go back to the other end, tighten it up. Okay. You can see on this end, I just had a slippery half hitch kind of partially installed. Now we're gonna take that out. And tighten this up against the other tree. Wrap that around, that holds it in place. Back down through the center. And we're basically gonna repeat what we just did on the other end. Once around, back in. Once around, back through. Once around, through, and our last time. And this time we're gonna do our slippery half hitch and a second one to hold it in place. And then you've got the hammock set up. You might need to make a few more adjustments back and forth. So what I'm gonna do is sit in it. I do a test. If my legs sit at a 90-degree angle with my feet flat on the ground, you've got a good hang. And so that I'm gonna check it right now for that. So you can see my knees are a little less than a 90-degree angle, hanging a little bit low in it. So I'll probably tighten up that other end just to make sure I get a good hang on this. Adjusted that end, and now you can see I've got a good 90-degree angle on my legs, feet flat on the ground. So to me, that's a good hang. To me, that's just a quick, easy way to measure how you have the hammock hung, whether it's gonna work out, be too tight, too loose, things like that. It's a fairly decent stretch we have going on here, but it's not bad. Feels just fine to me. So now we can go ahead. You've got, on this hammock, you've got 2 tie outs like this. They just pull the hammock and the net away from your face, give you a little bit more width to the hammock. So let's stake these out and then we'll work on the tarp. This just has a little clip. You can loop it around, put your stake through there, and then just pull this out so it's nice and taut. And then you can see how that pulls your net and your hammock out away from the sleeping area so that net's not laying against your face and stuff like that. And then there's one on the other side. And they're set at diagonal positions on the hammock. That helps you get into that diagonal lay position that you need in a hammock. You don't want the banana lay. You want a nice flat diagonal lay in your hammock. And you can see it has the ridgeline storage inside here. So you've got a place to put all your stuff. That's pretty cool. I like that. All right, now we have it all set up. I've got my summer under quilt on here, sleeping bag, pillow. You can see 2 ridgeline storage areas. This is a very wide hammock, sort of an asymmetrical cut with these 2 areas here. Looks like it's gonna be very comfortable to sleep in. One thing I do like that just happened to work with my underquilt is it has these loops for the side tie outs to go through. It also keeps your underquilt in place. So that's super nice. And then you can see the underquilt is just clipped in up here. These are for clipping to your tarp, which we're gonna put up next. And then of course you can see my suspension all tied up there. Now that I have everything set up, I'm gonna go ahead and lay in the hammock before I put the tarp on, just to make sure everything is kosher and set up and suspended the way I want. And I just wanna see how this thing sleeps, because it's totally new to me. I think it's gonna be pretty comfortable. It looks very wide and comfortable, lots of space for you to sleep in, but let's give it a try. Get the old Crocs off. I won't be able to reach that when I lay down, so. Caught the zipper in the material. So I like that the zipper is a double-ended zipper. Unlike my war bonnet, you know, I can only go one direction with my zipper, but this one, I can set that opening up anywhere I want to along that line. I could pull from this direction. I could bring them both up here. I like that. That's a nice feature. The newer war bonnets do have that feature, but mine is one of the older versions and does not have that. Like I said, this is kind of an asymmetric cut hammock. So I'm gonna stick my feet down there where that foot end tie out go out. Stick my head up here. Nice flat lay. Whoo, buddy. That is nice. There is a little bit of a seam coming down from where the gathered end is, and you can flatten that out. It's really not a factor. Very comfortable laying hammock. But I'm just gonna take a nap here and I'll get back with y'all. All right, we're gonna put the tarp on now that I've had my little nap in the hammock. We actually upgraded to the hex sill nylon tarp. The Jungle XL hammock comes with the diamond shape, you know, just with the 2 stakes that you put in, and of course the ridge line. But I wanted to upgrade to the hex just to give me a little more coverage. That way I can throw it up into porch mode. But then of course it does add a little bit of weight. I think it's around 10 ounces, and it does take 4 stakes instead of just 2 with the diamond tarp. So again, you're adding a little more weight with those extra stakes, but I like the extra coverage. I like hex shaped tarps. I feel very comfortable with them. It's still very lightweight, but of course I'm not really hammock camping for lightweight anyway. I'm hammock camping for comfort because I love sleeping in a hammock. So let's set this tarp up. Henessey uses the same suspension system for their tarp as they did for the hammock. Again, something I might change up, maybe get some Dutch wear to make it a little bit easier to hang. But for right now, is like it is, comes out of the box. We're gonna set it up just like that. Again, I already set up the other end with a quick little half hitch just to hold it in place. And then we'll come down here to the other end and start doing our loops. So this is not a continuous ridge line. It's just from the ridge end to the tree. We'll come in here. Of course, you don't have the loops on the suspension to go through, but you just start going through the center, wrapping it around the line, going back through the center, wrapping it around the line. Do that 3 or 4 times. So that's 3 and 4. And then we'll just do a slippery half hitch and one more slippery half hitch to lock it in place. So just like that. And then we'll go down and tighten the other end. So the other way you can put up the tarp is wrap your end cord around the tree like I've done here, and then come back through this little ring on the end of the tarp. So you come back through this ring on the end of the tarp, and then you can just adjust the tension there, back and forth. And then you can do 2 half hitches on one end and a taut line hitch on the other, Or you can do taut line hitch on both ends. I like taut line hitch on both ends because then I can adjust it back and forth. And I use that as a slippery hitch, so it's easy to get out. And of course, I double it up so that I can get a little security there. But then you can adjust that back and forth with your timber hitch, or taut line hitch, not timber hitch. So now you get that nice and tight top ridge line on your tarp. One thing I really like about these Henessey tarps is in the corner here, they have a little pocket for you to stick your guy lines. And so you can see there's my guy line all stuck up inside that pocket. Keeps it from getting tangled up with the other 3 guy lines. Now this is just a straight line, so I'll just use like a slip knot to put that's what I usually do. I get it where I want it to be with the stake. I've got my stake here. Get it about where I want it. And I just tie a slip knot right there. That's where I stick my stake, right in between there. Learned that from one of my favorite hammock campers, Shug. And just put that in. Got a nice taut line, taut tarp. That's really what you want. I'm just gonna go around and do the other 3 same exact way. Now we've got the hammock all set up with the tarp, all ready to sleep in tonight. I can't wait to take a real night's sleep in this hammock. It's very comfortable, easily as comfortable as my war bonnet for a little less money. It all comes in one package with the tarp and the hammock and the bug net and the suspension. So it's all there ready for you to use. You know, I piecemealed my hammock and tarp and underquilt and things like that. But this is all one nice package altogether. Great hammock for the price. I'm really impressed with the Henessey. Give it a shot. Let me know in the comments what you think about it, what other hammocks you enjoy sleeping in, and of course, give me a thumbs up for this video and click that red subscribe button. I look forward to seeing you in the real outdoors.